Used to dream broke, but it's clear now. No handouts, had to get down. Now what they fear now. No money millionaire, we here now. Got scars, but I wear that crown. Turn pain to a real account. No money, no excuses, no limits.
Welcome to the No Money Millionaire Podcast, where we teach how to build wealth from the inside out. I'm Dave Webb, your No Money Millionaire. Every week I sit down with real people who've turned obstacles into opportunity. Proven you don't need capital to start, just courage and a plan. Today's conversation isn't about spreadsheets or deal structures. It's about something deeper. The longer I've been in business, the more I've realized the most powerful currency you can have is authenticity. Because when you stop performing and start speaking from who you really are, everything changes. Your business, your relationships, your impact. My guest today understands that better than most. He's an international entrepreneur, author, and the creator of Monetize Your Mindset. He's been building businesses since before he could legally drive, and he's jumped off more towers than most people climb. Bart, welcome to the No Money Millionaire Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming. So before we dive in, why don't you please take a minute and tell the listeners a bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and how this whole Monetize Your Mindset mission began.
So, my name is Bart Merrell. I'm the Side Hustle Samurai. I help people identify their ideal side hustle and create financial security by monetizing things that they already know and do. Because when life happens, money worries are right up at the top of the list. It may not be the number one thing, but it is close. And when I say when things happen, when life happens, what could it be? It could be cancer or Christmas. We have Christmas just coming up around the corner. Are you prepared? Yeah. Or is it going to hit you and you're going to put everything on your credit cards and hope to pay for it next year? And so are you prepared for the things when life happens? And it's just crucial that we monetize our mindset and we create that financial security just by the things that we do. And for me, it started as a kid. My dad was a pig farmer, but he wasn't just a pig farmer. He had his hands in many different things, all in the agricultural industry, but just many things. Part owner in a dairy in Idaho, part owner in a mushroom warehouse in Utah, owned part of a produce warehouse in Arizona, where Diamondback Stadium now stands. Mm-hmm. And so when they wanted that property, I mean, let's just say he made a good chunk of change. And he never really set me down and taught me the birds and the bees of business. He showed me by example, and then when I wanted to do things, he just encouraged me and helped me along the way. My first side hustle was as a teenager. I bought my first stereo at age 11. I worked all summer on the pig farm. It was an all-in-one system. It had a cassette deck over here, an 8-track player over here, which most people don't even know what an 8-track is anymore, turntable on the top, and then the tuner in the middle. I loved listening to music, but little did I know at 11 years old, I just purchased a liability. Because every time we'd go to town, I'd have to buy the new tunes. And back then, it wasn't about buying one song. You had to buy the whole cassette or the whole record or the whole CD. It wasn't one song that you got. And so it cost a lot of money. When I got my driver's license to where I could drive, I turned that into an asset by starting my first business. It was a mobile disco business in a small town in southern New Mexico. And guess what? Nobody was hiring 15-year-old DJs. And so I had to create my own opportunities. So after a football game or basketball games on a Friday or Saturday night, I would rent the community center, hire an off-duty cop for security. Mom and Dad took money at the door. I spun records. Everybody had a great time. As a 15-year-old kid, I made $500, $600, $700 a night for 4 hours of fun. So I monetized fun. And that's how it all started. Then my goal in life was to get in the FBI and chase serial killers. That was my dream job. I went to college in accounting because we had a family friend that was an ex-FBI agent. He said the easiest way in was in accounting, but you don't have to stay in the white-collar stuff. When jobs open up, you apply for the position, And if you're good, you're going to get the position. And so you don't have to stay in the white collar stuff. So I went through my accounting degree up at in Utah State University. I was almost ready to graduate, and let's kind of take a step back. I did not like accounting, and I was not good at accounting. It was just a path to go. I mean, I could study all night long, and the best I was going to get was like a C plus or a B minus if it had the word accounting in the class name. Other stuff, health, math, whatever it was, I didn't have to study a whole lot, and I would get a B or A or a B. Okay. And so I wasn't good at it. I didn't like it. I took right before my last semester, I took off to went and helped Dad on the pig farm. While I was there, I was trying to learn my Spanish and do all that stuff. And I was making money in a small town where there was no place to spend it. And RK surgery had just come out. It was before LASIK. It was corrective vision. I decided, hey, I have the money. Let's go get it done. It was like $1,500 an eye. I went and got it done. And I had 20/20 in one eye, 20/25 in the other eye, clear up until just about 5 years ago where I had to get glasses again. But I got back up to Utah State, finishing up my degree, starting the application process to the FBI, and I found out that automatically disqualified me.
Oh, the surgery?
The surgery. It was still considered experimental, and they didn't want to put thousands of dollars into training an FBI agent and then have them go blind. I was devastated.
I can imagine.
I didn't know what I was going to do. I had a part-time job up there at school doing landscaping, and I was just in that thing, and I kind of just fell back on what my dad taught me, and it was to be open to opportunities when they come your way. I had spent a couple of years in Japan, and I spoke Japanese as well as Spanish. A buddy of mine who worked for a bungee jump company that built bungee towers jokingly asked me, hey, do you want to go to Japan? And I non-jokingly said, yeah, I think I do. Because they had sold the bungee tower in Japan. They needed someone to help with the building of it and someone to help train the staff and all that stuff. And so that's kind of where it started. I contracted with the Japanese company, set up my terms. I would go back and forth to Japan for 6 or 7 years until I got married, just doing amusement park ride stuff. And so that's kind of how it all started.
Sure. When
it comes to, and I've done that for my life ever since. I sometimes look back on my life and I say, I was pretty lucky. But what is luck? Luck is when opportunity and preparedness meet. And one thing my dad taught me is that you have to take action or nothing happens.
Yeah.
I could have said, well, let me think about that Japanese thing, and it never would have happened. But because I said yes, it happened. And so we'll get into more of that as we go, but that's how it started. My dream job got blown up, so you think I'm lucky. Well, my dream job just got blown up as, Was I lucky? No.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned action. I just filmed a video last night. I haven't released it yet, but that's what my whole next video is on. It's about you can listen to podcasts, you can read books, you can take courses, you can do everything. But if you don't take that action, it's not going to do you any good. And so my whole video I recorded it last night, was completely about that, taking that first step, that action. So it's funny you mentioned that. So
and that's the hardest thing, taking that first step.
Yeah, it is. After you take the first one, then you can take the second one is not nearly as hard. So, what do they say? The only thing to fear is fear itself, and that's so true. It's once you actually get there, you realize, wow, wasn't anything I had, had built up in my head and stuff. But my whole new video coming out, be released, I think, in a few days, is completely on action. So,
awesome. Let's
talk about that bungee jump you mentioned. I read somewhere in your bio that it was only hands-on.
So we're talking about taking that first step. And so I use this to help people understand you have to take risk, an educated risk. And I'll show you the education after the fact. But
sure.
So I took the first commercial bungee jump to Japan. I am a certified bungee jump master.
Okay.
And so what that gave me the power and the authority to push little Japanese people off the top of an 8-story tower.
Okay, well put.
Well, maybe we should say assist. Assist. And on our busiest day, we did 783 people. We assisted them off the tower.
Wow.
Sometimes during the week, that was on a Sunday, but sometimes during the week, it was slow. And I'd be up at the top of the tower, just alone, me and my brilliant mind.
Okay.
And my brilliant mind was thinking, now my bungee tower had this stunt person airbag at the bottom just in case someone fell. And in theory, and supposedly people had done it, one could jump from the top of the tower without a bungee cord, 8 stories up, hit the airbag, and be okay.
Okay.
My brilliant mind was kind of talking to me and saying, you think you can do it?
Wow.
I walked over to the edge and I looked down and I'm just like, I ain't that crazy. And for your people who are watching, this is brilliant. So your hand's going around your head forward, your finger. This is crazy when it's going backwards. And so I'm not that crazy.
Sure.
But I got to thinking about it. I says, okay, I can jump with the bungee cord attached, wait for the bouncing to stop, and then I just unhook the bungee cord, and now I'm only falling from about 6 stories instead of 8. I thought that was doable. So I hooked a bungee cord on, I jumped, I waited for the bouncing to stop, and I couldn't disconnect the bungee cord. And so my buddy that was helping me lowered me down. I went back up to the top of the tower, and my brilliant mind didn't give up. Said, okay, when you attach a client to the bungee cord, use this about a foot long, 1-inch nylon strap with a carabiner on the end. I can take that carabiner, wrap it and hook it on itself, put 2 of them at the bottom of the bungee tower or the bungee cord. And what do I have? I have handles. I can just jump hanging onto the bungee cord, wait for the bouncing to stop, and then when it stops, all I have to do is let go. Now that's brilliance.
Okay.
So I put that setup on the end of the bungee cord, grabbed my handles, I walked to the edge, and I kind of said 3, 2, 1 bungee, let's go, and I jumped.
InvestorFi, the #1 lending source for first-time and early-stage investors. Just learned how to find your first deal? Let's get it funded. InvestorFi, the only No Money Millionaire certified lender. Find us at InvestorFi Lending or visit our website at investorfilending.com. InvestorFi, turning new investors into trained professionals. What are you waiting for? Schedule your free review today.
Wow.
Obviously, I survived.
Yeah.
I waited for the bouncing to stop, but sometimes that brilliant mind doesn't go clear to the end. And I'm hanging from a giant rubber band. What's going to happen when I let go? I let go, and that bungee cord shot to the top of the tower with this loud clank, clank, bang. I fell to the mat and hit it with a loud slap, and it echoed throughout the park, and everyone came running to see who just died.
Wow.
Now, I'm crawling out of the bag, the airbag there. Everything's okay, nothing to see here, everything's good. Now, the point of the story is it brilliant or is it crazy what I did? To be in business, you got to be a little bit of both. Because you're going to have to step out and see what there is to see, even if you don't know the outcome.
Yeah.
And I say educated guess versus stupid guess. I had jumped thousands of times on the bungee tower. I knew the type of pressure that it was going to give me. So in my head, there was probably a 99% chance that I could hang on and there wasn't going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. And so it was an educated guess. Same thing when you're doing business and planning business. You have to do your homework before you just step out and go after it. But once you have your homework, once you have your stuff done, you have to take that first step. You have to take that action. You have to jump and get started.
Yeah,
because like you were saying
action.
before,
Yeah.
studying and doing all that stuff is only good if you're going to take action.
Yeah, definitely so. Great way to connect it there. It's So I see that you've been an entrepreneur since before you could legally drive. So what was that first "I don't need a boss" moment for you?
So the first one was the DJ that I was telling you about,
Sure.
and so that's when I could legally drive. Before that, I was telling you about how my dad taught me about action. So I was in the FFA program, the Future Farmers of America program, and we would do fundraisers where we would have to go out and sell stuff. Now, this is small town America. I mean, my high school from 7th grade to 12th grade was only like 230 students.
Oh,
so we're talking very small town, and that was in a 90-mile radius. For some people traveled 90 miles a day one way to get to school. I mean, we've heard about the traveling uphill both ways. Well, some of the kids that went to our school traveled that far twice, to and from.
Wow.
And so it's a small town. And so when these fundraisers came about, the first one was oranges. If you would sell 500 oranges, you would get a pair of Justin Ropers, which was the boot of that era. It was the boot to have. And I went out, I sold $1,100 worth, and I asked for 2 pairs, one for me and one for my girlfriend.
Okay.
By the time the boots came in, my girlfriend was gone. I still gave them to her. She didn't want to have anything to do with them, and she gave them to her sister-in-law, I believe. But my dad taught me, he says, hey, there's other kids that are going to be selling these oranges. If you want to get your goal, if you want to hit your goal, you need to take action now. And so as soon as it started, I'm on the phone selling oranges. I'm not driving around having my dad take me around. I'm selling oranges by phone. If I get the thumbs up or the yes commitment, then I go. My dad took me around and drove me to pick up the money and all that stuff. And then the next year there was one that was you were selling magazine subscriptions, and you would get points for the magazine subscriptions. You would have a catalog that you could go through and you could purchase stuff with your points. Mm-hmm. And my goal was a .243 rifle, a hunting rifle. And I set my goal. Once again, Dad said, okay, if you want to hit your goal, you have to take action. And once again, I'm on the phone dialing for dollars or dialing for points. And I got it. I was giving away points to friends so that they could use those points to get the things that they wanted.
Sure.
And it was that training, or that, I don't know if it was training, but just lessons from my dad encouraged me, okay, you've set a goal, go get it. Yeah. That led to my first business, and I wanted to quit having to pay every time we went to town for music that wasn't going to make me any money. And that's just kind of how things started. And it's just happened my whole life.
Wow.
When things cross my path, good, bad, or ugly, I always ask, can I monetize it? Now, I don't monetize everything, but I ask it. And it's just, if you didn't grow up with my dad or someone like my dad, you don't think like I do. And that's the whole purpose of what I do. That's the whole purpose of Monetize Your Mindset. I have events that I do called the Identify Your Ideal Side Hustle Workshop. It's not an event, it's a workshop. Mm-hmm. We're talking about action. I get so tired of these feel-good events where you go to an event and it pumps you up and then there's no action step. You don't know, okay, I got all this stuff. Now what do I do? And I was kind of getting angry at these events that they're there. I shouldn't say angry, but irritated that there's no action plan. Why are people going to these events with there's no action plan after it's done? And I'm just like, well, you're not giving them a better option. And that's how my event started. If you need to get in touch with your feelings, don't come to my event because it's not going to happen.
Okay.
But you're going to walk out of my event with a handful of side hustle ideas that are unique to you and your life experiences. And you're going to have a path, and you're going to know your next action step that you need to take.
Nice.
And that's what I've created and it's just always been on my mind that you go and feel good at these events, but then nothing happens. Nothing changes except for the very few that have that self-motivation.
Yeah. Listening to what you said about those events, I worked at a job one time in California. I was in sales, and this was a roofing company, and the owner wasn't in the country all the time. He had properties in Jamaica and other areas, and he spent most of his time in Jamaica. He was developing land over there. But when he would come to town, he would call in all the heads of everybody, and everyone would get together in this meeting. And I seen this multiple times. Everyone would get together in this meeting. Everyone would fire some great ideas. The company's going in this new direction, and everyone's fired up. And it was a great meeting, and everybody was, everything was all in agreement and just talking about it and complimenting the meeting. And this was great. And then afterward, the next day, it was back to the way it was. There was never, ever anything implemented from that meeting. And it's funny you say that because I used to blow my mind. I said, I've never been to so many meetings where none of it ever gets done. Never. And everyone repeatedly, like nobody was experiencing the same thing I was. And we'd have another meeting and it would happen all the same. And then tomorrow it would just be back to normal. And it's funny you say that. That just made me remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been because I've gone to these events and I don't know, I don't want to, call anybody out, but I've gone to these events and they're good emotional high when you get home, but there is no set action steps. It didn't improve my finances. If anything, exactly. it cost me money because I had to pay to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I had to take the time to go. There was one that I went to. It was a 3-day thing. It was very affordable. It was only like $100. And I went to the first day and I was like, man, keep my $100, but can I have my 8 hours back?
Right. That's sad when you run into that. So,
yeah.
But you have a line. You've got a line that I love. And it's, are you prepared for what happens when what happens actually happens? So yes. What was the moment that idea became real for you?
So my wife, she's Japanese. And she visits her family in Japan quite often, once a year. And sometimes while she's there, she'll get her health checks done. And she called me from Japan and calmly informed me that the initial indication was cancer.
Oh.
And, everybody's life has been touched by cancer in one way or another. Yeah. My brother died at age 53, two sisters at age 62 from cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And so what would be going through your mind?
Oh, the worst.
My mind was racing.
Yeah.
I could lose my wife.
Of course.
My second thought was, I don't think we can afford this.
Oh.
So why do my thoughts go to money so quickly? Money isn't everything. Or is it when you don't have enough? Sure. And I'm afraid I don't have enough to drop everything and be by her side while she goes through whatever it is she's going to have to go through. Now, we were lucky after 8 sleepless nights, I guess we're not supposed to sleep in the day, but after 8 sleepless nights, the test came back negative. The biopsy came back negative.
Oh, good for
And
you
so
guys.
we were lucky. We got a wake-up call.
Sure.
But what I'm telling everybody is you don't need a wake-up call to get ready. Get ready now before life happens. And that's when it just blossomed to me. And when that happened, I started doing it for myself, but I still hadn't thought about other people.
Okay.
I started creating my own multiple streams of income, but I hadn't been thinking about other people. And then I was doing a project for Toastmasters. I don't know if you're familiar with Toastmasters. It's a speaking club.
Okay.
And their top award is called the DTM, I'm drawing a blank now. Mm-hmm. Distinguished Toastmaster. And to get that award, I had to do a project. And I took a Toastmaster type club into a drug rehab center, a 90-day in-house drug rehab center, to help those kids tell their story. And we would do it once a week, and I would go in and do it, and it just went only had to go for 12 weeks, but it went for 3.5 years because it was just so compelling. The stories. I have to admit, I went in there somewhat judgmental. Why are you screwing up your lives? I mean, come on, guys, you know better than that. But then I hear some of the stories, and I just go, man, if my parents were like that, how would I be?
Sure.
There's things that I hadn't even, I knew they were out there, but they just didn't resonate at the front of my brain. It was clear back stuck in the files. And I was listening to this one story. It was Jen. She was talking about how, as she was growing up, when her family would go out and about, they would be somewhat normal. And it wasn't until they went home that the abuse and the neglect happened. And until she went to college, she thought that everybody else went home to the same thing.
Okay.
That everybody was out acting normal when they were out and about, and when they went home, abuse and neglect happened. When she found that out, she was just like, wow, this is a whole new idea that people didn't grow up with these problems. And I was sitting there, and it had been fueled by a Facebook post that I had heard before, that I'd seen maybe a day or so before I was listening to Jen. So it was on my mind. But the Facebook post was an article that said how to live on less than $28,000 a year.
Oh.
I'm just like, why would I even read that article? How about an article how to make more than $28,000 a year?
Sure.
But as Jen was telling her story, that's where this idea that if you didn't grow up with my dad or someone like my dad, then you don't think like I do.
No.
And that's when I started thinking, and this was in 2015, 16, that this happened. And I started to think about other people, people need to understand that when life happens, the cancer scare, when it happens, you have a choice that you don't have to worry as much. Now, money really isn't everything. Steve Jobs had all the money in the world. Well, maybe not all the money in the world.
Yeah.
But it gives you options. It may not save your life, but it gives you options and helps you through that situation.
Yeah, definitely.
And so my goal is to help people identify their ideal side hustle, create that financial security so that money really isn't everything.
Sure. No, I understand. I talk about in my podcast and in a lot of my videos that, when I was young, I come out of the inner city of Detroit. I come from a very poor area. And I just looked at, I just wanted money so that I could get all the things that money gives you, but not realizing that once you do obtain, financial freedom, that what you're really getting is your time, your ability to be with your family, your ability to cover what happens when what happens. It's not so much the fancy cars, the jewelry. It's not any of that really. So, coming from somebody that didn't have it, you see those things first. But once you do obtain a certain level of wealth, then you start understanding what that really gives you. And that touches base on what you're mentioning there. So, it's most people only start worrying after life hits.
Yeah, and that's exactly me too. I was the same way. Yeah. Now, I'd been living, I didn't really create the multiple streams, but I had been living this monetize your mindset, because I never did the real job thing. But when that hit, when the cancer scare hit, that woke me up to the idea, hey, I need to focus on more than one thing. And you've heard this quote. I know you have. Jack of all trades.
Oh, yeah.
Master of none. And so we think this, we need to be the master of one. But the full quotation is Jack of all trades, master of none, oftentimes better than the master of one.
Yes.
But people don't know that, and people always use that quotation the wrong way.
Well, exactly, 100%. Yeah. No, not often do you hear that tail end of it. It's always presented as a negative. The jack of all trades, master of none. But you're right, and I am aware of that, the tail end of it, and because myself. I didn't come up traditionally. I went from, matter of fact, my brother, he came up, my father, where I grew up in Detroit, the auto companies were there, and my father had worked for for Chrysler, and my brother followed in those steps, and he went that route and working for a pension to doing all that. I just couldn't. And I went from like one job to the next, and I remember calling my brother one time. And I was all excited. I had this new job and the potential of making more money. And so I called my brother and I told him about this new job I got and how happy I was. My brother, he just said, until what? Till somebody upsets you or pisses you off and you end up leaving and you're going somewhere else. And I said, what does it matter? Why is it better if you stay in one position and just increase, or if I jump from job to job to job, but as long as my wage is increasing as I go, what makes what you're doing better than what I'm doing? And so, with that jumping around from different jobs, because when you come up in the sales industry, you realize that you can go sell basically anywhere, and so with that, I have been called the jack of all trades and master of none, and in the negative sense, but I learned the full side of it. So let's dig into the book, Monetize Your Mindset. What does that actually mean?
And I thought I was genius when that Monetize Your Mindset hit. And I went to GoDaddy and I typed it in. MonetizeYourMindset.com is available, and I purchased it.
Oh, lucky you.
But people ask, what does that mean? And for me, it is just what I kind of mentioned earlier about whatever comes in front of my life, good, bad, or ugly, I always ask the question, can I monetize it, or how can I monetize it? And let me give you another example. Okay, so life happened again last year. March 25th, 2024, I had to have my lower left leg amputated.
Oh.
I found out about that in like October of 2023 that it was going to have to happen.
Okay.
And when the shock and awe was over, which was quite some shock and awe,
sure.
That's just kind of brief story. I went to a personal development retreat in Canada, and I was dropped from a ropes course. And this was back in 2012, and I was told that it wasn't broken. A few years later, it sent me to the hospital with blood clots in my lungs.
Oh.
Because my ankle didn't have this movement. It only had like 1 or 2% movement, and so it never pumped the blood up to out of my calf muscle, so my leg filled up with blood clots, One broke off, a big one, and it's called the saddle embolism, went to my lungs. After that happened, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what I can do for my ankle. And this was in 2021. And I had a CT scan done. Turned out my ankle bone was actually crushed on the back and the front.
Wow.
And the pieces of bone is what was blocking my movement. So I went to several orthopedic surgeons and a podiatrist. Podiatrist says, I give you a good ankle, give you an ankle replacement. But the orthopedic surgeons were like, no, out of the 5 reasons I wouldn't do that for you, you have 3 of them. Oh. They said, basically, your only option is whenever it gets bad enough, you're going to want to get it fused. And so I continued on it, and I got skinnier and healthier and started climbing mountains and doing things. And the more I did it, the more it hurt, the more the shape got funky. And I finally decided, okay, it's time. It's time to go get that fusion. And I went to the doctor. And the radiologist isn't supposed to say anything. The radiologist is just supposed to take pictures and let the doctor say things.
Sure.
And from behind the panel where he's protecting himself, he takes that first picture and he goes, damn, you don't have an ankle bone. And I'm just like, oh gosh, this isn't good. Wow. Doctor confirmed I didn't have an ankle bone. And, basically your only option is amputation, or you're going to go in a wheelchair. I mean, if that's what you want to do. And I'm just like, okay. And I'm just like, oh gosh, what have I got myself into? Drove home, told my wife, but when the shock and awe was over, my thought process is this: okay, I don't like this. But it's got to happen. It's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. Can I monetize it?
Okay.
Okay. So then let's go 6 months post-op. I'm in my prosthetist's office. And I'm talking with him, and I met with 3 different prosthetists before I decided on him. And I said, the conversation went something like this: Scott, your competition has a guy. I met with the guy. You don't have a guy. I'm your guy. And what the guy did is he talks people through what they're going to have to go through. Wow. And helps them prepare for their amputation.
I couldn't imagine what it takes to prepare.
Yeah, and I went through everybody would always tell me, Bart, how are you doing this with such ease? I think is what a lot of them said, or you have such a great attitude. Sure. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Seriously, it's got to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't, crying's not going to help. And so I just felt that I was the person that could do for Scott, my prosthetist, that the other guys were doing for this other prosthetist.
Sure.
And so if I hadn't thought about it before, when the opportunity to have that conversation happened, it wouldn't have happened. And so thinking, even before you know how to monetize it, thinking is what helps you do that. So anything that comes across my path, I always think, can I monetize it?
Wow.
And that is what the book is about. It is not a what to do book. It's a how to think book. It gives examples of stuff from my life to other people's lives and how they've monetized things that they already know or already doing. And it just gives examples so that one of the hardest things is you either have too many ideas and don't know where to start, or you don't have an idea. You're like, well, I can't do anything to get paid for. But then when you hear other people's stories or hear other ideas, you're like, oh, okay, maybe it's not that, but it's something close to that. And it just gets your brain going and gets you when I work with people, I'm not pointing out anything they don't already know. I'm just helping them grease the wheels, get the wheels moving. And sometimes they have an epiphany in the middle of the night. Sure. And they'll call me the next day, Bart, I woke up at 3:00 in the morning and this idea came to my mind. I couldn't go back to sleep. I was so excited. Like, okay, well, now it's before you need to, let's make a plan. What are your next steps? And let's get you taking those steps so that excitement doesn't go away.
Nice. Now, I'm sure, though, that you also hear people say, I don't have a skill, or I don't know what to sell. I'm not an expert. So what's the truth behind those excuses?
The truth is they just need help. And when I say help, so this is what I do. I start and say, okay, we're not thinking about can you monetize anything. I just want you to make a list. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? Now let's take it one step further. What would you like to learn? What do you need to learn? What have you already learned that you could teach somebody and get compensated for it? And so we take out the compensation. I just want them to make lists, and then we just analyze those lists to where we put those into other lists, and whatever floats to the top are the things you should try first. Now, if I haven't run into anybody that doesn't have something in their life that they've done, that they've experienced, that they can't figure out how to monetize.
Interesting.
They just need help putting those in lists and then seeing what floats to the top. And you have to do your research. I mean, what are the resources it's going to take? Money, time. Time is a commodity that's really tough to come by nowadays, because if you got kids, your kids are going to this activity and this activity and this activity. So why don't we find something that you're already doing that you can monetize? Like getting your leg cut off. Now, I don't want your audience to go out and chop off body parts to start a side hustle. But it's something that I had to learn to do. Meaning, my wife, whenever we get ready for bed before my amputation, I brush my teeth and hop in bed. And she's like 45 minutes putting this cream on, washing, doing her nightly routine. Now that I have my leg cut off, I got to take really good care of my leg and the stuff that the line or the prosthetic stuff that goes next to my leg. Keep them clean, and so I have a system, a nightly routine that I have to go through now, and I had to learn that. Yeah. That is something I can help other people learn.
Sure.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Finish, please.
One of the things that I think people overlook is the things that they need to do, because they don't necessarily like doing them.
Right.
I mean, I didn't want to get my leg amputated. My wife, this was several years ago. She said, Bart, I'm seeing more than I would like to see of you. Your before picture is good enough. It's time to start working on that after picture. She's like, I'm getting more than I bargained for when we got married, meaning I need to lose weight.
Okay.
And she was just being funny, but she was right. Sometimes as men, we look at ourselves in the mirror and we kind of go, yeah. Or we go to Walmart and walk around, oh, I don't look that bad. Oh, I don't, but I see my before and after pictures now and they just go, wow, I was in bad shape.
Sure.
But when I decided, okay, she's right, I need to lose weight, once again, my mind goes to, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to get paid for it. Like Marie Osmond, and back at that time, Dan Moreno, he was also one of the spokespeople for Nutrisystem.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even know what my product was, how I was going to lose the weight. Once again, I went to GoDaddy and I said, okay, I want to get back to my wedding weight so that my wife is getting what she bargained for. I typed in backtomyweddingweight.com. It was available. I bought it.
Wow.
Now, I thought I was going to be 3 months. This was going to be a stream of income. Now, 7.5 years later, a friend of mine from California, she calls me and she's like, her name's Beth, and she says, Bart, I found it. It's amazing. You got to try this. You got to try it. You can try it, and if you don't like it, you don't like your results, you can send it back and you can get your money back. And I'm just like, Beth, calm down. What is it? It's the 10-day celebrity transformation cleanse. You're going to love it. And I'm like, Beth, I want to do a 10-day cleanse like I want a colonoscopy, and that's not very bad. I was trying to embarrass her with her friend, the other friend that she had on the phone, but she was quick. She thought a second. She says, well, at your age, you probably need both. And so I gave in after about a year and a half of her bugging me, and I tried it. And my first cleanse, I lost 18.5 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm just like, okay, I need to do another one. I waited 5 days. I did another one, another 11 pounds. So in less than 30 days, I was down almost 30 pounds. I'm like, okay, I need to do another one. I did 4 cleanses in 2 months and 5 days, lost 48 pounds, and I was back to my wedding weight. Now,
wow.
I was pretty excited, of course, but it's not about the cleanse. The domain that I had purchased 8 years ago, now was an income stream. Once I hit my 3rd cleanse, people started asking, what are you doing? How are you doing it? And so I'm just helping people with, I was an affiliate of the cleanse that I was selling, and I could give them a coupon and they would go buy it and I would get compensated. Just because I was showing and sharing with people the way I did what it was I did.
Yeah.
And so
interesting.
It's just, you just need to think, and it wasn't a lot of money. I didn't build a team of a sales force. I just did my own thing, and it could be $50 a month. It could be $1,000 a month.
Sure.
But if you're showing people how I was walking down my street, walking my Rottweiler, and my neighbor that lives up the street stopped because he thought someone was stealing my Rottweiler. I looked at that different. He says, it's you. And I'm like, yeah, it's me. He's like, what did you do? You look 20 years younger. I'm like, well, thank you.
Good for you.
And I just showed people how to do that. And it turned into a stream of income. Nice. But I prepared for it before I had the system. So even if you don't know what it is you're going to do or how you're going to do it, you still need to prepare for it and start thinking about it. So when the opportunity arises, you're prepared and you take action. Once again, the action thing comes up.
Right. Definitely. Yeah, it definitely comes down to taking action. Okay. So sounds to me like you've imagined and seen, every type of side hustle that can come and go. Now, let me pick your brain. What's dead in 2025 and what's exploding right now? What are the things you see for side hustles?
So side hustles, I don't know that anything's really dead because there's a lot of manual labor stuff that is available. I mean, I have a friend in Idaho that is a poop scooper for dogs. And she does really, really well. Mm-hmm. I know of a couple in Utah. I don't know them like I know her, but there's poop scooping companies all over the place.
Yeah.
Might be even a saturated market.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing that is up and coming, if you even did a Google search right now on side hustles for 2026, I would say 80 to 90% of those side hustle ideas are going to deal with AI.
Oh, yes.
And so if you're not learning AI right now and you're in business, you're going to be left behind. And so part of my focus is once we've found your side hustle, we use AI tools to find your ideal client, to set up your business plan, to tell you the things you need to look out for in this business that you've come up with. Yeah. I mean, I can take a paragraph of your business, slap it in an AI out there called Venturis, and it'll pop up 8 to 10 pages of stuff, including a score if you're a paid person that gives you, okay, you got 50%, 90%, 80% chance of success. And then I can ask that same AI, okay, my score is only a 70%. What do I need to focus on to bring that up? And it'll tell me the things I need to watch out for.
Interesting. I haven't heard of Venturis.
And it's one that I hadn't heard of till about 6 months ago, and it's what I use whenever people have come up with an idea. My version is paid, so I can generate for them a business plan.
Wow.
With a SWOT analysis, it gives you all these things you need to, what do you need to look out for when it comes to market saturation, or what is your unique selling part? What is your minimum? Don't wait till you have that perfect plan. Here's the minimum thing you need to start out with. And it's just, if people don't know AI today, they're going to be left behind, and there's probably tons of things that I don't even know about that you can use AI to start a business.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think all the ideas for AI have yet to even scratch the surface, and there's so many people not even using it yet.
Now, one of the drawbacks of that is I just kind of go, how stupid are we going to be in 2 years?
Wow.
Because when it comes to me promoting my stuff and posting on social media, I don't even think. I go to my Chat GPT, which knows a whole lot about me because I've been a paid member for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it just knows everything about me and my business.
Sure.
And I tell it that, I say, okay, acting as a Facebook specialist and knowing everything you know about me and my business, give me 5 Facebook post ideas, and then it'll give me an idea. Or 5 ideas, and I pick an idea. I say, okay, this one's the one I like. Give me 5 different text copy ideas for this post, and it'll give me the one. And then I pick one of those that I like, and now I take that and I say, okay, now give me image ideas for this post, and then it gives me the image ideas, and then I pop it over into Gemini's Nano Banana and have it create an image for me, and then I put it on my all I do is copy and paste. Yeah. And I sometimes wonder, man, how are we really thinking about things? But the thing about it is, there's probably not an easier time to start a side hustle or a side business or a business than the time we're living in right now. Because there's so much information at our fingertips. But then it goes back to your action video that you created.
Of course.
Just because you have this information, if you do nothing about it, it's not going to do you a bit of good.
No, it does. I tell people you can read, you can take the courses and all the podcasts, but if you don't take the first step, that you haven't done anything for yourself. And
that's the easy part. It's just like those events that we were talking about that I call them fluff events.
Okay.
They're fun. They're easy. You feel good. But unless you do something, you're not going to get there. It's not going to change your financial situation.
Sure.
And so it's the feel good stuff. That preparation is fun. I mean, the other night I had to force myself to go to bed at like 2:00 in the morning because I had to get up and be on a podcast at 7 in the morning.
Sure.
But I was just having fun. I was creating stuff for a live event that I was doing a couple of days later. And it's just, when you find something where you have to force yourself to go to bed, you need to take action, because that's definitely you just need to do, and you need to do the right action, not just the play stuff like I was kind of doing, but I was creating stuff for my event so I can justify it. But yeah, you got to take action, and this is the easiest time that there is to start a business.
So now let me ask the side hustle samurai. Is there a difference? Is there something that separates a side hustle from just a second job?
Is there a difference? So I did a YouTube video on my Side Hustle Samurai YouTube video or YouTube channel that was, how do you know when a side hustle has become your main hustle or a job? And I've done side hustles that are part-time time and full-time pay. And I have one of my side hustles is I'm a dog trainer. How did I become a dog trainer? I adopted a dog, an 8-month-old Rottweiler that was 90 pounds and didn't know the word no. So I had to learn to train him. If I'm going to learn to train him, why am I not going to get paid to train other people's dogs? So I get paid a lot to play with other people's dogs because of my Rottweiler.
Sure.
That is a full-time time and full-time pay. And so I've actually cut it back to where I don't want to work that much. I don't want to spend that much time when I want to start another avenue. And so the difference between side hustle and a real job, a real business, is how much time do you have to spend there to make that function. So if I were to die tomorrow, my dog training business would die as well. Because I'm the trainer.
Sure.
If you can die and things go away, or you can die and you go away and it still functions, then it's more of a business that can sustain itself. Side hustle, you want to get that. So my side hustle samurai business, someone could take it over and learn what I'm teaching people, or maybe they already learned it from me, and I could die and go away, be hit by a bus tomorrow, and it's still gonna live.
Sure.
So a side hustle, you want it to get into that. It still may be a side hustle because it's less time and more money. But when I first started my dog training business, I had 4 or 5 client dogs in my house for 383 days straight. I didn't take a day off. Okay. And so that's when, and I took a day off to have knee replacement surgery, and I was just like, oh, I like this time off. And so when I came back, I restructured it to where it could be more of a side business versus a side hustle.
Okay.
Because I can take time off. I don't take as many dogs, but then they all come in at the same time and go home at the same time, so that I have a week or two where I can do my other stuff. I can focus on my other stuff. And so it's one of those things where, okay, where is that point? It's also like saying, okay, when do I need to be an LLC versus a S Corp? You have these steps that will take it that way. One of the stories that's in my book is about a couple of ladies. They're the founders of Jamberry. Jamberry is a nail wrap company that started in 2010. These 2 ladies, they would go get their nails done, every month, and it would cost them $50-$60. And when they were walking out one time, they said, I wonder if we could do these ourselves at home for cheaper. They did their research. No one else was doing do-it-yourself nail wraps. They got their hands on some products, made a prototype, went to a home show, came home with a stack of orders, got in mom's garage as a family group, and they put things together, got the orders out, went to another home show. They did that 2 or 3 times before they said, okay, we need to figure out what we're going to do. Their only goal was to do something as a family, have fun, and make a little extra money.
Right.
Within 5 years, they sold 50% of the business for a multi-million-dollar deal.
Wow.
The company was doing almost $1 billion in business, in revenue, a year. Wow. So you can imagine the size of that deal.
Yeah.
And their goal was a side hustle. It turned into a big business, but they did it the right way with delegation, and they weren't, so they didn't have to be as, it wasn't a job. It wasn't a high-paying job. It was a business where they could delegate, and they created something, and then they sold it for a multi-million-dollar deal. And
Great. Yeah.
I asked Aaron, I said, Aaron, what is your advice to someone who is wanting to start a side hustle or a side business or a business? what's your best advice? And she says, well, as you heard from the interview that I did with her, she said, as you heard from the interview, we didn't know everything before we started. We still don't know everything. And so if you're going to start a business, don't wait till you know everything. Start it and learn as you go.
That's what I touched on in my video that's coming out. Take that first step, get out there and face these things. It's better to face the things you don't know than to hold off and not do it because of what you don't know. So let's tie it together a little bit. I teach the no money method. I teach people how to build wealth even when they're starting from zero. So you teach how to create income using what they already have. So those two ideas together, I would think they would remove every excuse somebody could make, to be on their way, to put something together. So going back to what you teach, it seems most people plan for celebration and not survival. And that mindset shift alone could save people years of struggle.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get practical. If someone's working a full-time job, has no extra cash, and no idea where to start, what's their very first step you would tell someone to take?
Look at their life experiences. So I take it down to the basics. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? Make those lists and then look in there. So your time factor, if you're working a full-time job, it's a time factor. So you need to look at the time resources. If you don't have any extra money, look at the money resources. My dog training stuff, it took me a little bit to get started. I ended up going to a 2-month seminar learning how to train dogs. It cost me, I think, $8,000 to go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But when I got done, and they taught you how to train dogs and how to kind of structure your business. And I made almost $100,000 my first year.
Wow.
And my business partner that we run together but run separately, he made almost $50,000 part-time. He's a plumber. And so he made almost $50K part-time with what we do.
Wow.
But it cost me, $8,000 to take the course.
Sure.
My weight loss program, a little less money. I didn't make $100,000 my first year or any year with the weight loss. It's a little bit less income, but still it's, $50 to $1,000 a month. And it's something that I don't really focus on at all. It kind of comes and goes as it does. If I'm drinking my green drink on social media, then I get more sales. If I'm marketing, then I get sales.
Yeah.
But it cost me, I think my first cleanse was $200.
Okay.
And that's all it cost me to get started.
Yeah.
I didn't start looking way different until about my third cleanse. So we're what, $600-800 now. And then I had to buy the domain and then set up the website, so there was, we're talking $1,500 to get that started.
Sure.
My amputation business cost me nothing. Well, cost me a leg. At least it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. But I was just aware of the opportunity, and when the opportunity happened, I jumped at the chance.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's really just about being aware of things. Have you heard the story of Acres of Diamonds?
I'm not calling it,
Okay. A farmer, Ali Hafed, he sold his farm. He was a Persian farmer. He sold his farm. He went in search of diamonds. He died broke, alone in a foreign land, never found his riches.
Okay.
The farmer that bought his farm was watering his camel in a brook that ran through the property, reached down, found a rock in there. It was a diamond. The Golconda diamond mine was established right there in what was Ali Hafed's backyard. My family, we have a similar story. Instead of acres of diamonds, it's acres of pig poop.
Okay.
In my small town, there were more pigs than people because of us. We had, at any one time on our farm, we had 19,000 pigs.
Wow.
We had 2,000 sows. And so you know what a sow is, a mama pig.
Okay.
A mama pig can give birth 2.5 times a year. And on our farm, we average 9.97 pigs per litter. And so if you do the math, that equals a lot of pig poop.
Right.
We had 3 man-made ponds called the lagoons that we would divert the stuff into. They were settling ponds. They would go to this one year, then we'd go to the next one, then rotate back. Now, Dad, when he got in his mid-60s, he decided it was time to shut down the pig operation and go in search of his next acres of diamond, his next big thing. He died at age 81. He never found it.
Okay.
We sold the farm a couple of years later for $235,000, which was a fair price for the property. The new owners of our farm, about 6 months later, were leveling those man-made ponds that we had built up. They'd been dry on top for years. But as the heavy grader was going across the middle of one of those ponds, it broke through the crust and sunk up to its belly in this black muck. They called in experts to evaluate the stuff, and right there on the spot, they offered the new owners of our farm $2,000 a ton for the stuff.
Wow.
That's $1 a pound for old pig poop.
Wow.
The farm that we sold for $235,000 was now worth over $1 million.
Wow. Wow. So why was that so valuable? What was it? What did it turn into?
Fertilizer.
Okay.
Now, this 500 tons of old pig poop was acres of diamonds right under my dad's nose.
Sure.
And so my question to everybody, and this is what people need to think about, is, are you overlooking your acres of diamonds like Alvia Fed and my dad?
Yeah.
Are they right there within your grasp, right there in your own backyard, right there under your nose? Do they look like a pile of pig poop?
Yeah.
And so that's what it takes.
Yeah.
It's just awareness, being aware of what's around you. And then we go back to the action, being willing to take the action.
What's the number one excuse you hear from people who say they want extra income, but they never start? They never take that action.
So it's always a veiled excuse, and the number one excuse is fear of failure.
Yeah.
You know, people have that quote by, I forget her name, that it's not fear of failure, it's fear of success, and it's a big, long quotation. But it's really fear of what everybody else is thinking around you. And I have it happen to me. I have a best friend, and his wife said once to him, "Why doesn't Bart just get a real job?" Because I don't want a real job.
Right.
Except at Christmas time when someone's throwing Christmas parties, and if I want to throw a Christmas party, I have to throw it myself. But guess what? If I throw my own Christmas party, I'm inviting people I like, not people that I have to be with. And so, and so it's, I think a lot of it is worried about what everybody else is going to perceive. Mm-hmm. I mean, I post on Facebook a lot, and some posts get action, some don't. And I see the ones that don't get action, and I could focus on those, and no one's listening to me. Nobody cares. But I'll tell you what, people are listening. And the ones that take action and come to me, and I change their life, they thank me for it.
Oh, yes.
And so I can't focus on the ones that don't, or that say negative stuff.
Of course.
You gotta, that's the stuff people are worried about. It's the perception. And then losing money, I mean, that's always tough. Mm-hmm. You know, especially if it's a real job situation. And I mean, losing money anytime's tough. Mm-hmm. But when you kind of feel like your income is capped or it's finite, and you're having to dig your way out of this hole that you created. And so the fear of failure is real. whether it's because you're embarrassed or because of the money.
That's what I think I find with a lot of people that, in my line of work with, I teach people how to jump into real estate, and, they haven't done it yet. Most of them never done it. They haven't taken that first step, and, it's a lot of fear, So let me ask you this. How much of this game is skill and how much is mindset? Which one do you think is the stronger play there?
It's mindset, because that's going to take you the first step. Let's just take your real estate thing. Right out of college, and this would fall under things you're already doing, okay? Mm-hmm. Right out of college, I bought my first home. I was single. I took the room I wanted, the best room, and I rented out the other rooms. Paid for my mortgage and then some. Then when I got married, we rented out the basement. Then when we moved to our current home, I looked for a home that had a mother-in-law apartment or an accessory apartment that I could rent. I have never owned a home where someone wasn't paying more than half of my mortgage.
Wow.
That's an easy way to get started in real estate.
Yeah.
And it's something that you're already doing. There is no way I could downsize my home right now and pay less than I pay for my mortgage.
Wow.
And
that's
so it's just
one.
and that's something you're already doing. You got to live somewhere. Live somewhere that's going to help generate a little income that can offset the mortgage. And
that was excellent.
I did that out of college. I didn't know anything.
Sure.
It was just willing to take the chance. And when I say mindset, I'm not talking deep mindset. Mm-hmm. I'm talking just be willing to take that first step.
That's what I find with mine. That's what I hammer on. It's mindset. We have so many limiting beliefs that we can't do it because of this. We can't do it. We need down payment. We need credit. We need this. I don't have that. I don't have that. And it's overcoming all that and just taking action, like this whole episode has been about. So, I think it's been great, and I appreciate you letting us pick your brain and share your insights, and it's an amazing line. Are you prepared for what happens when it actually happens? And most of us are not. And that what happens when what happens isn't just bad stuff. What if your daughter decides she's going to get married? That's a good stuff, but it's going to cost you money. Like I said, cancer or Christmas. Yeah. I saw that you had said that cancer or Christmas. You said cancer or Christmas can both destroy someone financially if they're not ready.
Yep.
And that's a heavy comparison. Before we go, you want to explain that a little bit?
Well, it's just what I said.
Yeah.
What happens when what happens doesn't have to be bad stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Someone getting married, an opportunity that comes your way that you can't afford, whether it's a vacation or a business opportunity. So I'm talking about good stuff as well. It's not just all gloom and doom.
Sure.
Cancer, getting my leg chopped off. Once again, I sometimes look at my life and think, hey, I was lucky. But then I look at my life and I say, my dream job was blown up. I lost my leg. My Rottweiler that I adopted has issues. And it's just taking that and having a good attitude and turning it into money.
Well, your attitude is amazing, and it's gotten you where you are, and and being able to overcome what you do. And a lot of people don't have that, and it's great that you're sharing that with people and trying to help them see it that way. So before we wrap it up, do you have anything you want to say? Do you want to tell people where they can find your book?
So my book is on Amazon. My book is on Amazon. It's just called Monetize Your Mindset, Create Financial Security by Monetizing What You Already Know and Do. And you can get it at bartmerrell.com as well. Either way, doesn't matter to me. I have my YouTube channel. It is Bart Merrell, the Side Hustle Samurai. I just started it a little bit ago. And all I do is give tips. I'll interview some people sometimes talking about different things, but it's just really helping people understand and answering their questions that come up.
And I saw you have a list on your website, 25 side hustles for 2025.
And obviously that's going to be updated because 2025 is almost over.
Yeah.
And so, the side hustle ideas for 2025, it's just a memory jogger. It's to get your wheels going. Your idea may not be on there, but it'll start you thinking about things. And most of those are non-AI ideas. So it's just ideas that people are doing and turning into a stream of income. The same link will have my next year's thing, which is a wealth potential analysis or a side hustle samurai strategic analysis, where you can go in and answer questions, and it'll actually give you feedback of where you need to work on to improve so that you can have a successful side hustle.
You incorporating AI into that one?
I'm just using a go high level. Okay. And so there's AI. I am not incorporating AI into that.
Okay.
I should.
Okay. This seems like it could be.
It's one of those things where it gives you an analysis of where you're lacking, and I have it broken up into 7 sections, and from the answers that it gives you, it's just a survey. And so I guess it's go high levels AI as far as the survey goes, but yeah.
Excellent. So everybody, who's listening, if you've ever said you don't know where to start, well, that excuse can end today. You got a lot of tips. You can go to bartmerrell.com, get the new 2026 list that's coming out soon. So, Bart, I appreciate you very much. Monetize what you know and leverage what you don't have. So thank you. Thanks for giving us your time today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you.